Yeah, I think this is I took full 1 hour session. Okay, so it's because it's heavy. So thank you very much for joining the session. Any questions, you put them. Okay, so please feel free to reach me at any time. We will be happy to assist you in your supply chain excellence journey. So thank you very much. Yeah. So coming back to the next presenter. So do you have Sirri? So
Hello, Sheikh.
Hi, Sirri.
Good afternoon. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Yeah. So how are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing fine. I hope the event is going well, and thank you very much for inviting me also.
Going well. It's going well. It's going well. So far, we had 5 sessions so far. Okay. So thank you, Siri, for joining the session now. Let us talk about some industry things. Okay. So let us talk about industry part. So the topic we are going to discuss now is about animal industry is one of the most important industry for the food security of any country. So you may not heard about it, but eventually it is one of the most important supply chain in the food ecosystem. So we are talking about better formulation and supply chain processes for feed business by Mr. Sirri Kayhan. Sirri Kayhan is joining from Turkey. So welcome, Sirri. So thank you for joining us for session today. Let me give a quick introduction about you. Okay. So Mr. Sirri is a president of MSIS, a software company with a focus on innovative solutions and probiotics for the poultry industry and other industries. He also holds a role of country manager for US Soybean Export Council and contributes to advancing the agriculture trade and industry practices. He has been helping animal feed companies across the globe for more than 2 decades, and he's one of my dearest friends. Okay, Siri, so welcome to the show, and you can quickly brief about yourself, and then you can share your screen. So the best way to do is you put your presentation into a PowerPoint in a presentation mode, and then you share the button share while selecting presentation mode window. Okay, so that way you have a presentation available for all of us. Okay, so then you can look.
Okay,
can you try, please?
Do you see my screen now?
Yeah, it's coming. Yeah. So now, but this is it's not in a PowerPoint. This is but we see your 2 screens here.
Please.
Yeah, can you try again?
Hold on, please.
Yeah, just
hold on.
Slideshow, and then
one moment, please. Oh, oops.
Sometimes people have difficulty in sharing the screen share. Yeah. You can try, but that is very important. We can see the.
Is it okay now?
We can see, but it is now it's fantastic. Yeah, it is perfect.
Is it okay now?
It's perfect. You can proceed. Yeah.
Okay. Do you see also the another screen where
no.
you see? Okay, only presentation. Perfect. And
please
just let me just check also if the slides are moving well.
Can you see the?
Okay, perfect. Okay, and thank you very much again, Sheikh. It's my pleasure to attend to this event and do the presentation. As I understand from you also that this event not especially for the feed industry. For this reason, I try to make my presentation simpler so people can understand, participants can understand. If I need to explain a little bit about myself, you mentioned already, but I was graduated from the agricultural university, but I study aquaculture, and I have both background, agriculture and aquaculture engineering. But since I graduated, I have been working in this feed industry, and I am especially specialized on the feed formulation side. And also, as you mentioned, I have my own company, Yemsis, and then I am also working with the US soybean farmers, and you will see in my slides also that US soy logo. So for this reason, I put this logo as well. And it's really because I have been in this feed industry since years. I have been dealing with the customers from the region and from also worldwide because of the communication and networking with the US soybean organization also. So I will try to explain today. Today's agenda will be, first of all, again, I want to talk about the feed cost structure and also the focus areas in the feed industries. And then I will try to explain a little bit about the feed formulation. What is feed formulation and why we do feed formulation? What are the challenges and then the important parts of the feed formulation? And then also I will try to explain as well the optimization models to make the feed companies more profitable, and then also the integration and its importance with the and then also its importance on the procurement and then supply chain, because as you will see in my presentation, the formulation is in the heart of the feed business. When we look at the feed business worldwide, it's characterized by the low margin, which means around 3 to 4%. When you look at from the outside, you may think that feed business is really a big business. I mean, the big profitable business, but unfortunately, it's not really like that. And also, one of the most challenging thing in the feed industry is widely fluctuating raw material prices. We are always facing this problem every day, almost, especially in the countries such as Turkey, where there is a high inflation. By the way, there is a prayer calling now. I hope it's not creating noise in the background, but I will continue. And when we look at the feed cost structure overall, we see that the most important part of the feed cost structure is the ingredient part, because it is taking around 75% of the feed business. So, and when you look at the management production, there are between 3 to 6%, 7%. And then profit, as I mentioned in the previous slide, is around 3 to 4%. So this means when you are trying to increase your profit in the feed business, you need to focus on the ingredient side, which is also the purchasing side. So because you are going to make profit while you are purchasing and also while you are formulating, because there is two ways. First, you purchase the raw material, you will make money from here. And also when you sell, there is also some payment term that you offer your customers. In this case, you will be financing them for the certain period of time. So when you consider these two parts, and especially working on the ingredient side, this ingredient cost is really increasing. The percentage of ingredient budget is really increasing. And then the focus areas in the feed industry, manufacturing is, of course, we cannot do the feed business without manufacturing, but we have operation side also, and purchasing, formulation, and nutrition. And under these pillars, we have other parts that we can also mention, but I am not going to go into details too much in this matter. So, but these are the most important pillars in the feed industry, and we are focusing especially on those areas. And purchasing is one of these areas, and purchasing planning together with the formulation is one of our, maybe we should say, the heart of the business. And without the communication, good communication of purchasing, formulation, as well as the nutrition, it's not really easy to manage the business efficient way. And of course, others integration is also very important, manufacturing and operations. But compared to when you look at the importance level, I think this three pillars, purchasing, formulation, and nutrition part, is the most important parts. The best way to increase the profit is, one of my colleagues says that today's fluctuating ingredient prices, changing customer demands, and also complicated regulations by the countries. These are such as carbon footprint, formulation, environment protection, and also the customers are always changing their demands. So it is really making your job to make it more difficult. It's really making your job to manage more difficult. But of course, if you don't have visibility over them. But fortunately, now the companies or the software companies has solutions and also answers to do the visibility in your operation, in the feed operation. So when you look at nutrition, the middle part is the formulation, and also we can mention purchasing is inside this. But it is the heart of the business, as you can see here. There is always pressure from other departments to the nutrition department, the formulation department, because purchasing is depend on the nutrition, and I will call nutrition department, but it's actually covering the formulation. So purchasing is dependent on the nutrition department. Inventory control is also dependent, because you need to supply the raw material on time, and also production department need to have the recipes to make the production, and financing also need to know what it will be produced, how much it will be produced, what will be the cost, what is the details of the raw materials and amounts. So because of that, it's in the heart of the business, as mentioned earlier. Now I would like to mention what is feed formulation, because we talk about its heart and it's important. So if you're not from the feed industry, it's actually the purpose of the feed formulation is to meet. We are trying to meet with the quality requirement of both animals, customers, and the nutritionists. So sometimes customers becoming more important, because you are not really selling the feed to the animal. Sometimes they don't look at the performance of the animal, but look at the physical properties of the feed. And in this case, customers' demands maybe differ. But of course, at the end, if they don't see any benefit on the feed side, performance side, they will not be happy. For this reason, we need to meet with the requirements of every parties to run this business efficiently. And then in the feed formulation, we have different ways of doing the feed formulation. There are different size of companies, sometimes small companies, sometimes big companies, and sometimes also only farms, but they still want to do their feed. So we have single formula optimization. And when we say single optimization, first of all, every formulation system includes the database, raw materials profile, and raw material prices, and the formula specification for every animal. So single optimization is optimizing a single feed at a time. But when we speak about the multi-formulation system, sometimes we call multi-blending. In this case, you are considering many formula, and all the formulas, let's say, you are producing in your feed factory, and trying to understand what will be your certain period of the cost of certain period of time, what will be your supply, raw material supply chain, how will your supply chain will supply you this raw materials, how many tons of which raw material you will need, and also the distribution of the raw material and planning of the purchasing. And also, while you are doing that, you need to lower the cost also, because you want to make a profit, and you need to do comparison to do this profit, to find out the profit. You need to do the ingredient comparison, because not every ingredient can be beneficial for you. Sometimes there are same ingredients, you need to make comparison. As an example, there are different type of soybean meals, which is one of the most important raw material in the formulas. And when you use the high quality soybean meal, in that case, you have better, sometimes, of course, there are margins between the quality also between the raw materials. If we speak about the American, Brazilian, and Argentinian and Indian soybean meals, of course, there are some values. Each one has a value, but when you compare each other based on their prices, you will find some margins between which one is more attractive in the formulas or for the profit, and which is less attractive, and what are the cost difference, acceptable differences for these different qualities. So this system will allow you to understand this, understand which one is more beneficial for your operation. And also we have multiple purchasing scenarios we are building to manage the supply chain, because we don't know when, or maybe we have some information that we can put it in the system that related with the raw material supply, and this system will allow you or tell you how much of which raw material will need in which date or which month or which period of time, because sometimes some raw materials are not available in the market and you need to import. And for example, in Turkey, we are importing all the soybean meal from soybeans, and then some meals also from outside. So we need to do right planning for ourselves if we are also importer of a raw material. So we need to know when it will arrive so we can make the planning in the system. In the single formulation, as I mentioned earlier, ingredient characteristics are very important. These are, we can say, corn, barley, soybean meal, fish meal, etc. All these raw materials should have also nutrient profile. When we speak about the nutrient, we mention, we actually say that the metabolizable energy, protein, amino acids, digestibility levels of these amino acids. And as a second step, ingredient prices are important, because without prices, you don't know the value of every raw material, how much it will contribute to your formulation. And then we have specs. We have different animals that we are dealing with. For this reason, we need to know which animal will need which raw materials, and also which nutrients, energy, protein, etc., which one will be needed for their best performance. And then after we completed these steps, we have optimization, linear programming, and then we create manufacturing formulas below materials. And then for the supply chain management, we do the ingredient distribution exercises. Feed formulation applications are developing lately very much, and but of course it is based on what we are explaining, based on what we are explaining. I would like to mention also challenges in the feed formulation. To do the good feed formulation, and also to provide good information to the supply chain, you need a very good accurate information on the nutrient composition of all ingredients. This is really necessary. Otherwise, the formulas you will create and with the raw material breakdown may not be very efficient, and you will see some problems in the field, and this will create problems, of course, in the long term. And the nutrient composition of ingredients updated every time based on the quality control checks and based on the prediction equations. By what I mean here, some of the analysis can be done in the laboratories, but some analysis cannot be done, such as energy, amino acids. It is difficult. It can be done, but it is difficult and costly. For this reason, there are equations, prediction equations generated by the institutes, universities, etc. So we are using in the system, we are building the system to calculate other nutrients based on the prediction equations and based on the laboratory analysis which can be done. Now NIR systems also very good, and they are near infrared systems. They are also supplying good information on the quality control. So it is also helping us to manage the quality. And best nutrient levels and combinations for the best performance parameters under different environmental conditions, and the management systems also best nutrient levels should be set up, and the combinations should be set up. And feeding program should not underfeed but also not overfeed. This is one of the common mistakes, or maybe security the nutritionist does. They want to secure the formula, secure the animal in their mind. For this reason, they sometimes lower the real value of the raw material, and also increase the requirement of the animals. In that case, they are sometimes underfeeding and sometimes overfeeding, and this also creates problem. Of course, this is another challenge. And diet specs that decrease the feed cost. Diet specs should decrease the feed cost while increasing the productivity. We cannot just decrease the feed cost. It will not be logical. For this reason, productivity must be considered every time you are trying to reduce the feed cost. And ingredient purchasing must be, this is really a must, and must be on the feed formulation data for quality and quantities of the feed ingredients. So this information should be supplied from the formulation to the supply chain, not from supply chain the feed formulation department, because this is also one of the common mistakes. Purchasing department just purchase the raw material and deduct to formulation person to formulate with that raw material. They may think that they purchased this raw material cheap, but when you put it in the formulation, it may not be realistic. It might not be true. For this reason, it has to be considered before they purchase this raw material and how much it can be purchased. Otherwise, you will have overstock maybe while you are purchasing this raw material. If the formula does not use enough that you purchase, then in that case, this raw material and your money will be sitting in the warehouse, in your warehouse. And also feedback from the field is very important, and for this, with this feedback, you can update your information, requirements, and raw material, etc. And feed specs to be decided based on what parameters of production to maximize, like feed conversion, growth rate, and based on the company's marketing goals also, and the customers' demands as well. And you should always keep your data updated with the current knowledge, and the knowledge improvement is really important, and following the nutritionists should be following this knowledge providers, let's say universities and other researchers. When we talk about the dietary nutrient recommendations, usually it is depend on the animal, what animals you are dealing, and you need to use these requirements based on the animals you are working, and you need to this should be under the optimum environmental conditions. And requirements are not the same for all the species. It differs for the fish and for poultry, even in the poultry, layer and broiler has different requirements. Even in the same species, there are also age differences. So it has to be designed very well. And nutrient requirements can change more frequently than the feed change. Because sometimes in hot climate you need to change. When summertime came, you need to change to summertime feeding and the formulation, and then in the winter time it should be different, and it has to be updated more frequently. And nutrient requirements also may be different for different production parameters. If you are focusing on the feed conversion, it might be different. If you are focusing on the productivity or the production performance, then it will be different. Economics of nutrients. How we can find out the economics of nutrients. Maximum growth or production is not really the evidence of successful feeding program, because it doesn't mean that the specification used are the minimum requirements, and this situation can easily be achieved by the overfeeding nutrients, which creates over costing on your operation and reduce your profitability. Overfeeding reduces potential risk, but it creates extra cost for the operation. For this reason, neither overfeeding nor underfeeding is not really needed. I already mentioned this, I think. And then for the best cost-efficient formulation, we need to invest in the ingredient analysis. Laboratory, as I mentioned in the beginning of my presentation, quality control department is really important, and analysis of the raw materials is really necessary and must. And improve management and environment. And updating and adjusting the ingredient data, and defining and updating the requirements, using professional computerized feed formulation techniques for programs, and the techniques also, because there are best practices that companies are using. So this is very important to apply to our operation as well. And the important thing is, for the visibility of this operation, integrating the data is very important. The economics of the feed formulation: multiple choices of all protein, energy, and other ingredients must be introduced to the system, such as I mentioned earlier, different origins of soybean meals, different origin of other raw materials, and also we should not be just locking ourselves on the certain ingredients, but we need to offer alternative ingredients to the system, so the system can select which one is best for the most profitable production. And then more purified ingredients, which means high quality, high density ingredients, because these ingredients, when you also, again, I will give you the example for soybean. Some soybean, especially if we are talking about US soybean, US soybean has higher digestibility because of the production areas, and because of the processing, and because of the seed quality. But when you look at the other sources, they are also very good quality, but compared to each other, some of them has higher quality, higher digestibility because of certain reasons, as I mentioned earlier. And less ingredient constraints must be applied to the formulation as much as, as less as possible. Because when you put constraints, these constraints will generate extra cost for you. Every constraint will generate cost for you, and this will also make your purchasing planning more difficult, and the cost will really affect it. Sometimes we see that because of these constraints, we have $3 to $4 per ton, which is really high extra cost is occurring. So we need to do the right constraints in the formulation. And then reducing the cost pressure in the formula is in the system. This will be available to see, and you should try to reduce this cost where it is occurring in the formula. And ingredient allocations for the shortages. If you try to change your formula when you have one ingredient finished, then in this case the cost of reformulating will be more expensive than allocating these ingredients before you finish this raw material. So in this case you will be able to save a couple more dollars per ton also. So this is very important because of the purchase. What we call it here is the purchasing planning, and also supply chain for this raw materials will need it for today and tomorrow and in the certain period of time. And what if practices, what if scenarios? This means, what if I buy US soybean meal? And what if I buy Brazilian soybean meal? What if I buy more corn? What if I buy this ingredients, that ingredients? Or what if I reduce the energy in my formula? So if we can do this what if scenarios, this will also give us very good information and also help us to increase the profitability in the feed formulation. Ingredient characteristics, database harmony. The database we mentioned is very important. These are usually, there are databases available in the market, feed industry. This can be some of the names: NRC, FEDNA, INRA, etc. But database is very important for the feed formulation as a reference, because these are scientific results of the animal performances. For this reason, we have to have one database, solid database. And scientific data need to be combined with the field results. You cannot only just take the data and formulate only with that data, but you need to frequently update, also do researches and feedback to formulation again to improve the database. And this is what feed companies usually do. Continuous follow-up necessary in the field and in the raw material and quality control. And variety of ingredients are important for the best cost analysis. You need to offer the system all the alternatives, so the system can decide what is best. Of course, this will be based on scientific of the animals and animal physiology. And the high quality ingredients are very important. High quality ingredients really sometimes it might be they might be more expensive, but when you purchase it, they might be expensive, but when you use in the formulation, because of the animal requirement, you can see that it is really bringing you much less cost than cheaper ingredients. So it can be more beneficial for you. When you talk about the high quality ingredients, I mean here is the predictable composition. So the composition of the high quality raw material does not change much. So you know what you are getting. And consistent composition also, and it's not, sometimes it's not high protein, sometimes not low protein, always consistent composition with the small changes, and conform to standards. And I know that this raw material will meet with my expectations, and it will fit to my operation to use safely, and I can store safely. So for this reason, I prefer the high quality ingredient. There is no standard ingredient anyway. Table values for the key nutrients need to be checked by the actual analysis. You cannot just say, okay, or trust the supplier that this is what is the nutrient profile of the material, but it's not, it may not be like that. So you have to check the actual lab analysis. And lab analysis, regular checking for all ingredients are necessary, and spatial analysis for problematic ingredients, such as sometimes they might have some mold problems, some other problems, and you need to do spatial analysis. Scientific testing for ingredients with suspicious differences in properties. One day is very high quality, one day is very low quality, and you need to check maybe, or sometimes if there is a high protein, they may add some other material to increase the protein, which may not be good for the animal. So we need to do spatial analysis for them as well. Stored materials need to be checked regularly. Also, if you have raw material in your storage, you need to check them frequently and make sure that their quality are still good. And we need to adjust the table values in our matrix, ingredient matrix.
Hello.
Excuse me?
Yeah, we
Yes.
talk about here both chemistry and also the NIR in the lab testing.
Yes, yes. Create overlay also. We should have a reference database to adjust the table values. We should create also another matrix where we can make practices and formulation and adjust the values there, and then obtain to our formulation. And as I mentioned earlier, prediction equations and to recalculate the other nutrients that we cannot analyze. And some examples like grains, equations, prediction equations for energy. And this is what I mean with the quality differences. The last one is the US. When you look at the protein levels, it is lower maybe in the US and Argentina than the Brazilian. But when you look at amino acid levels, it is higher. Most of the amino acids are higher. So we need to, and I don't have digestibility numbers here, but many people now working on the digestibility numbers, and this also creates the difference and also may help you to make more profitable. And what is changing in the market today? Commodity prices are frequently changing. Animals are changing. There are many improvements every day we are receiving, especially on the poultry side. And opportunity ingredients coming, new ingredients are coming. And environmental concerns now is a big problem. Sustainability is in place. And management methods are changing. And AI is also now in place and trying to apply to the business. And the way we do formulation must also change. And of course, it's changing, but it has to be in line with all these changes. And valuable links, of course, will be needed. And purchasers trade. In the past, I remember when I started to this business, always purchasers, the purchasing department, they were buying on gut feel with their feelings, and then nutritionists were using what it comes. And the production may not even produce the correct formula. They were always confusing because there were no integration and everything was manual. Impose those cost and diet change. Still, this is actually some of us in some areas. This is still valid. And nutrition, maneuvering around supply chain limits, dealing with lesser known quality because it was forced to use by the purchasing department or the management department. And also, if you think about how many times in the last 30 days, if you are in the feed business, you have been asked to reduce the cost of the diet. Formula cost reduction maybe 1%, but commodity prices, on the other hand, it's increasing 20%. And you need to, especially my country, for example, there are some times that people change the formulation almost every day. But in the normal times, because of the price changes and also the inflations, we are changing almost every week or every 2 weeks and to update the cost of raw materials and try to increase the profitability. And also it's important to feed the right value for the market and for the species. Quality control management of this in the feed business is also important to manage the quality control and manage the business on enterprise models, measure and should have visibility also and measure the system and also change your management based on this measurement results. Find the right ingredient to get the best from them. Evaluation of raw materials, as I mentioned earlier, is very important. And also supplier evaluation is very important. So some suppliers may provide you a good price for the raw materials, but the quality may be fluctuating very much. In that case, this supplier may not be profitable as much as the other supplier who provides with the little bit higher prices. Formulation strategies, also formulation systems, also we are changing and we are setting strategies dictating to supply chain composition, and then we are forcing to plan for the future for the supply chain. Also, not only for supply chain, but also especially on the supply chain. And I will skip this part. Maybe this is, if you are not in the feed industry, these are not very important at the moment to mention. But at least I already mentioned the animal requirements and ingredient knowledge. These are important parts, evaluations also, but also exporting the information you get from the formulation to the production and planning is very important for the accuracy and control of the change, and also vision of inventory control and future stocks, and the financial control, because we need to plan also our money flow. So the information we will supply to these departments will allow them to at least understand 75% of the business or the finance. So it will help them to manage this. And then inventory control, we have to set standards again here. When we have a lower amount, we need to start purchasing again, and usually supply chain department do these settings, and we should measure the results, and we need to do continuous improvement. Ingredient knowledge is really critical. I keep mentioning this, and it comes from the complete process, sampling, analyzing, evaluating, and calculating the real value, and data collation, analytics of the raw materials, we can say. So most of the companies, when they receive the raw material, they analyze and they use for the certain period of time, especially with the contract they have, let's say 1,000 tons of contract, they use this analysis results for 1,000 tons of material. But this data has to be used in the long term. We should do the analytics. We should calculate the standard deviations and the mean values, and we need to try to understand the real value for the same origins, for same suppliers. In this case, we can do the evaluation very well and then understand the real value of the materials. And this, of course, will be transferred to formulation and will help us to do the selection of materials and the suppliers. When you look at the QC impact, it's around, I will skip quickly here, $1 to $2. And supplier selection also is around $0.5 to $2.5 per ton, depending on the ingredients, variability, and also conservatism of the company. Integration and the integration to production and planning. is one of the most important part for the visibility of the system and also for managing the company very well. Right feed to this will allow us to enable us to feed the right feed to the right animal, right quantities in the formula, minimize the manual entry errors. And also it will enable us ingredient flow, purchasing planning, supply chain planning, plan for the future orders, and also financial planning and future cost report to finance and marketing. It will help us plan demand fulfillment and minimize over and under stocking raw materials, which also generates cost for the operation. And it will help us to manage the working capital efficiently. And to project the average cost of each ingredient by time period to feed back to formulation will be also possible. And then to project the ingredient cost timely basis using consumption based on the costing, similar to ERP logic. And then project the cost of formulas by management to see the cost trends. And make the planning based on that, and calculate the real time and forecast margins by customer and production line. Because when you have the visibility, it will be easy for you to understand which customers is profitable really for you, and which customers demands or request is creating problems. This will the integration will allow us to see it will allow us to see these problems and help us to take an action and adjust our management. And also, addition to the planning network, it will help us to minimize stock runouts, which really creates lots of costs in the purchasing and also in the formulation side. As I mentioned earlier, $2 to $3 per ton. It will also avoid overstocking. This is also similar to the stock runouts. And it will allow you to have group-wide visibility of the operation and rapid information transfer and financial visibility. And that's all for the presentation today. I hope I did not exceed my time, and I hope I did good on the timing.
Yeah. So you're very well in time. We have another like a 14 minutes for the questions. Sirri, thank you for excellent presentation. So let us discuss about few things. Can you just give the difference between the single blend, single plant, multi-blend, multi-plant formulation?
Okay. Yeah, single blend is only taking care of one single formula, which is, if we need to give an example, it's let's say broiler starter feed. When you do single,
so that we can just look at. Yeah, you can stop the presentation so we can see you.
Okay.
The video.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just stop sharing it. Yeah, just remove sharing.
Hold on, please. Hold on. I did not use this before. I'm using different things, so I need to know where it is. Stop sharing.
Recording, it will be.
Oh.
Just remove the screen share.
I'm sorry, I cannot find it.
Okay. In the bottom,
okay,
I think it's in the share.
I found it. Okay, good. I found it. Okay, yeah. So again, a single formula is only considering one formula and trying to make the most economic for single formula. But when you think about the multiple formulation, in that case, we are considering as a whole operation, not only one formula, but as the company, what it should do, how much it should, which raw material should be used, and which raw material should be purchased, and which amount. And this is for the certain period of time. But we have also multi-plant, multi-blending system. This is especially, it can be used for the scenarios, doing scenarios for many months, or budget planning for years or months. In this case, or it can be used for the companies which has 5-6 feed mills or more feed mills. So in that case, every plant will have single formulas in it, and every multiple plants or the system will gather information from every plant, every single formula, every single price, every requirement. And think about it, six feed mills you have, and every feed mill has 50 formulas, and some materials are the same, but 50 different, maybe 200 different ingredient prices, and you have 5 feed mills. And when you multiply these numbers, there are lots of information. So when you do the multi-plant formulation, in that case, everything is formulated at the same time, and it will tell you which plant you should use, which raw material, and what kind of formula they should produce. And for the supply chain, if you are buying an ingredient or importing an ingredient, this system will allow you in advance where to ship this raw material, like plant A, plant B, and what tonnage, what amount. So this will be really possible to see and plan in advance. For the supply chain management, it's really important.
Yes. So this multi-blend, multi-plant system. Let us say you have a formula now, but maybe you have a formula going to be changed after a month or so. Okay, so the system will consider even that also, and then do the
Yes.
recommendation, because you know the formulas keep changing. Okay, so maybe you have
Yes.
incoming shipments after 1 month, like soybean meal ship or
Mhm.
ship or something. So it will consider all the constraints and then give the least square
Yes.
optimization.
Yeah, that's for this reason, you need to do a very good setup first. When I say setup, for the plant A, ingredients must be entered, ingredient prices must be entered and also updated. And it is going to be easy if you have a ERP system and integrate this system to your formulation and automatically updates the prices, and also formula specifications, which animals, what requirements, and how many formulas, fish, poultry, layer, ruminant, dairy, beef, etc. And then this is number one plant A, and then plant B, the same, plant C, the same. Once you set up this, you don't need to worry again about this each formula. You will not be worrying about how this formula will look like after you set up very carefully. There are many features also to set up the system and also control the quality. So once you set up everything, after that, the system for 5 feed mills, what you need to do, you just need to apply the prices, and also if there is any shortage or any material coming that you are purchasing, how it should be distributed. You just put it in the main screen of the formulation, and you say, okay, I have 20,000 of soybean meal from US and 10,000 of Brazilian meal already in the stock, and I can buy this ingredient, and the system will tell you how to manage this situation, how to distribute 20 tons, or what other raw materials you should purchase it. And then at the end, it will give you all the details for, first of all, for total of 5 feed meals, and then details for each feed meal, and then each formula if needed. So it will be easy to just change one thing in the system, and all the 5 feed mills can be optimized again with the latest information you entered.
Perfect. I think that's fantastic explanation.
Yes, and just one more thing I want to add. Sometimes we purchase the raw material, but the prices change suddenly, which happens in my country often. And the price change, the raw material becomes less attractive. In that case, you need to use this ingredient because you cannot just keeping in your stocks. So there are, usually companies or the nutritionists try to distribute this material by their exercises. But when you do this exercise with the what if scenarios in the system, it will save lots of money. I can give you an example. It was one plant only, and the raw material has a shortage. This was soybean meal again. This was a broiler company producing 7,000 tons a month. And the boss said, I don't want to buy from another supplier because it is $15 more expensive. But when they do the analysis or the exercise and formulate it, and they found some results, and of course they were able to optimize everything with different materials, and they had some cost. And then we put this question to the program: just add the new material with the $15 more expensive and optimize for all formulas. And it took only 3 minutes for me to do that. But for the nutritionist, without this system, was more than 2 hours, because there were like 15, 20 formulas. So at the end of the results, his results, the nutritionist results, was about $30,000 more expensive than my my software's results. So this is really a great tool for the companies who needs the purchasing planning and also do this kind of what if scenario analysis exercises.
Perfect, sir. So, Siri, even the nutrition values required and also nutrition values of individual ingredients, raw materials, also is part of the system. So it considers that also in the optimization, right? Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
how does this nutrition values gets updated in the system? How periodically they update? Mhm.
Yes. Again, quality control is really important. I mentioned that formulation is heart of the business, but I want to consider formulation and quality control together. We cannot separate them, first of all. And second of all, if you are using NAR integration to the formulation is possible and also in place at the moment. And if you have wet chemistry analysis, then there are Excel tables. But there are systems now, quality control systems, which can be used for this integration. So it can be done through the ERP system, or it can be done with the additional programs, quality control programs, which is available also in software companies. And it's going to be very simple. But also, if the nutritionists need to do double check, in that case, before they apply to formulation, they will see in the screen, if you accept this is the result that we are updating in your program. And if the nutritionist approves, then it will go to formulation, and everything is going to. But again, we have set up in the quality control systems also. With this setup, the quality is really controlled very well, because if it is below or over our standards, we will have warning also that this product is something wrong. Please double check. So we will be able to see that.
Perfect. So excellent presentation, Mr. Sirri. So thank you for joining, and it
Thank
was
you.
really insightful. Okay, so we have another 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. If you would like to share any final thoughts or feed building companies
I
about their
think,
supply chain, any recommendation? Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, I think I want to again mention that integration. Today's missing part of the feed business, as I see from my experience, is the integration point of view. Like, they do not have good integration. Some companies has ERP systems, but still they have missing points in this ERP systems. So the integration for the visibility is very important. I am considering all the pillars of the if I need to talk about the feed industry, because this is my specialty, all the pillars must be integrated each other. For this reason, please make sure that you are integrating and you have visibility in your system. You understand what you are doing and how much you are spending, if you are making money or not making money, from whom you are making money, what is your best customer, and what is your best animal. So it will be helpful for you to understand every pillar very well and see everything in your operation.
Fantastic, fantastic. So thank you, Sirri, for joining, and we truly enjoyed the session. And all the questions will be posted to you, okay, for answering offline. And a sincere appreciation on behalf of the organizers and the team and the participants. So participants, if you feel free to write your questions. If you'd like to talk to Sirri, we'll organize a call or something. And also, we will try to introduce any, if it is required, to interact directly with Mr. Sirri. So, okay, with that,
Thank you very much.
Give a big round of applause for Sirri. So thank you very much, Sirri. Thank you very much for joining the session today. Okay.
Thank you.
Appreciate.
And thank you also for this Thank you very much for the opportunity presenting here.
Yeah.